So the other day, my sons came home from a weekend with their father, and their dad texted me that my son was given a pride themed bag at a Sounders game. That's a baseball team in Seattle. And he said, Mom doesn't like that stuff and rejected the bag. Well, I guess didn't totally reject it because here's the bag, this bag. Kind of blurry, but you can see it there. And so my ex-husband wanted to know if I would have a conversation with my son about why I don't like that stuff so that he would understand better. And one of his concerns, my ex-husband's concerns, was that he thought that it could come off as just anti-gay, that my son would think we were just against gay people. And I thought at first, well, that's kind of silly. We have gay friends and family members. Of course, he doesn't think that. And also, surely I've talked with him about these things, so he must know my perspective on this. And after I thought about it for a little bit, I thought, well, maybe we haven't had that conversation the way that we could have had it. So I decided to go into a little bit more detail and have a conversation with my boys about what these symbols mean. And after we did that, the next day I was talking with some of my friends about it, and it sparked a lively discussion. And I thought I would just share a little bit about that here in case that's helpful to you. If you're having those same kind of discussions in your family, maybe you'll have some different perspectives than mine, but perhaps it will get the thoughts going and help inspire conversations that you might want to have with your own kids. So this is how I talked to my kids about it. So I explained, first of all, that these are all logos. I know it's kind of blurry in there, but here's the Starbucks logo. Here's the Seattle Sounders logo. And that these are also logos, these color patterns. And a logo is a symbol that stands for an idea or a company. It's more than just a picture. It's a symbol of something more substantial. And so this logo, as I explained, this logo, the rainbow, has been used to symbolize acceptance of people in all their differences, that people are lots of different ways, have lots of different ways of living, people that they love. Some men love other men, some women love other women. And this has been used for a while to symbolize that people can think differently and love differently, and that is okay, and we can accept each other and live together. And I explained to them, we talked a little bit about how, we have friends and family that are gay, and, talked about how in the 80s and 90s, when I would have been in school, that wasn't as widely accepted. And we grew around the 90s and the early 2000s to be a culture that was much more accepting of that. So people who felt that way or lived that way could be themselves openly, and were able to have jobs and have friends and not have to hide that part of themselves. So this rainbow means a lot of things in the world, but one of the things that it means politically as a symbol is that people can accept each other and live together despite their differences. But then I explained to him that this other set of colors, which you can see here, I don't understand this red one, honestly. I've never really tried to memorize all the sex flags, but this one with the black and the brown, the blue and the pink and the white, is a symbol of how people are divided. And so the divisions are racial, with the black and the brown indicating race. I don't know if the white indicates a race or not. It doesn't really matter too much to me, because I understand the spirit behind it. And so the race part symbolizes that people of different races are different and should be held apart from one another. And the teachings that are being done right now, and I explained to my kids, which I don't know if I'd ever gone into that much detail about what I was being taught in graduate school that I objected to so much. And I homeschool my kids, so they haven't been subjected to these kind of CRT lessons and DEI stuff. But that right now in our country, people who have darker skin, and we talked about how there's no such thing as a white person or a black person, but there are people with darker and lighter skin, and we call them by these shortcut names of black and white and brown. Now brown's a thing. And people are telling people with darker colored skin that other people don't like them, and that other people think that they are less important. So they're being taught that they're less important and that they're not liked. And then the people with lighter colored skin are being taught that they don't like these people, even if they know in their own heart that they don't feel that way. They're being told that they're wrong and that they actually don't like these people. Meanwhile, these people are being told that all these people don't like them. And so these are symbols of division, of pulling people away from each other, of teaching people about the separateness of ourselves based on how we look. And my kids were really kind of horrified at this, because it's just shocking to them. And as I think it should be, that we would be told that your skin color has so much significance in who you are, what you think, and who cares about you, what your value is. And then we talked about these pink and blue colors and how they actually represent the opposite of these colors, because these colors mean that just because you're a man doesn't mean that you have to be really masculine, or just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you have to be really feminine. You can be so individual and still be a man or a woman. You can be a man who loves other men, and who as a boy wanted to do art and dance instead of playing sports, or a girl who wanted to climb trees and play baseball instead of wanting to play dolls and dress up in house. And these ones here, the pink and the blue, what they symbolize is that if you're a boy but you really like feminine things, that maybe you're actually a girl. And if you're a girl but you really like masculine things, and you like things that other girls don't like, that maybe you're not really a girl, you're really a boy. And so this is the teaching of you to reject your own girlhood or boyhood, your own manhood or womanhood, and that it's not okay to just be yourself in all these different ways. And so and then I explained that the way that this is usually depicted, these colors, you usually see them as a triangle or a chevron coming in over top of, I'm sorry, it's so blurry here, but over top of this rainbow flag. So you see this like this triangle chunking in over this beautiful inclusion acceptance flag. And what that represents for me is like a shark, and like a shark biting down and actually eating, destroying this beautiful flag. And so you have all these, and we can see beauty and discordance. We can see this whether we're adults or children. We can see that this color spectrum is so pleasant to our eyes. This is so lovely. The colors fade into each other in the way that natural light works, in the way that our rainbows in the sky work. And then here, these colors are they're almost nauseating to look at how discordant they are. So this nauseating, discordant color stripe pattern is depicted as chomping in and overtaking our beautiful acceptance symbol. And that's really what this represents. Whereas the rainbow has been used to show that people can live in harmony with different people, race, sex, etc. This new thing is quite the opposite. It's teaching about how people are actually not similar to one another and how we are divided. And this prompted some good discussions between me and my kids, and I felt like it was a pretty good jumping off spot. And one of the things that I have learned as a parent is that, especially if you tend to be someone who is pretty open-minded, pretty, as I guess, as we would say, classically liberal. Some people might not like that phrase, but if you tend to be of that orientation socially, you'll probably be inclined to say, I want my kids to form their own ideas. I want them to interact with the world and form their own ideas about things. I don't want to push my ideas on my child. But again, one of the things that I have learned is that the world is trying very hard to push ideas on our kids. There are a ton of people out there trying to sell their ideology to your children. It's in their entertainment, it's online, it's at the baseball game. And it's certainly it's at the library and the pride displays, it's in your town, in the parades that we're seeing everywhere. So the world is trying very hard to sell ideology to our children. And it is important if we have values that are counter to some of these really prominent narratives, that we take the time to actually have discussions with our kids about our perspectives so that we can help to influence the perspective that they have, because they're receiving something. It's not a blank slate. They're not just going out and encountering the world organically. There's influence everywhere. And if this is an important value to us, then it's important for us to share our thoughts with our kids. So I hope that this is interesting and perhaps helpful for you as you try to think about how you might communicate some of these themes to your kids. Maybe you'll think about them differently than I do, but perhaps this will help you get that conversation going. Thanks for listening.